ever, anywhere I've been, ever get shin splints in track. So we jump rope so much.
Oh yeah, jumping rope was the jump rope. That's something you've always done. That is different than almost every. I have not seen it at any other program that I've been at. The way that although Joe Klaus, I think brought it to Old Japan a lot.
Yeah,
I remember when he was doing it because he obviously got it from you. But you're right, jumping rope because those are like. See, those are things, and by the way, they don't do it in gym class anymore.
No, absolutely not.
I mean, ask my son what he does in gym class. He goes to parochial school. What do you do in gym class?
We sit in a squad.
No, I don't know. Run around. Like, do you learn any skills? Do you jump rope? No.
No, they don't do that.
My son jump rope? No. Okay. Do you guys play tag?
Sit-ups? No.
No. Can you do a push-up? I had to teach my kid how to do push-ups because in the old days we used to do push-ups They don't do push-ups in gym class. They don't do sit-ups in gym class. They don't do – I mean, they do almost nothing. It's pretty funny. And when
which actually irritates your kid because he wants to go and compete and do that stuff.
That's why he'll do push-ups.
We used to put together AP gym class.
They should. It's the only course that's not tracked.
It's like, hey, let's go. We'll go AP gym. We'll all compete. Everybody else – go over there and I don't know.
Well, this is a side discussion, but the two most important classes, and you used to teach. I think Derek used to be the teacher of this too. Is to me, but
is the piano and what else, Dave? The piano and what else?
Well, besides the piano, and singing voice, is history and physical education. Okay. And obviously math, I get all that. I get I get why those are important. I get that stuff. But history, knowing where you've been, where you come from, where maybe you're going, and then physical education, which is basically gone by the boards. New Jersey, maybe in Illinois, are like the last two states in America that maybe even have it as a requirement. But physical education, how to physically be able to handle yourself, be able to develop self-esteem. From being able to get stronger, and I'm not even talking about sports. I'm talking about like they'd be able to have
how many
feel about yourself.
Have a pegboard. How many?
There's nobody that goes. I mean, I don't know if you still go to gym early like you do, but there's no better feeling. I when you go to work out and you come out of there and how you feel, So, and you feel better about yourself. But those are the things that it's funny because we try to like in their society like move away from these things.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, and there's so much data on that. The guy who wrote the book out in Naperville, Illinois, did the whole study. It's a great study in terms of what they did with their kids before school in the zero period and how their mathematical and English scores went through. It's a great book. It's called Spark.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called Spark. And you can actually, if you don't want to read the book, they give great presentations on YouTube on it with that author. All right. And I try to sell it to everybody, and I got a better chance of seeing God than them accepting that. But, I just think it's kind of important that we do these things. I mean, it's funny.
I mean, you can look at the videos of like gym class from 1970 or 1960, right? When they're back and they're doing push-ups, jumping jacks, all this stuff. And now you look at it and it's like, what is that? What are we doing?
I know.
What are we doing?
And to think this all started like with the run and shoot, I mean.
That's all I got left.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, look, I think those things are, again, we talked about it, scrubbing roster, finding your kids in the hallway. I mean, I'm not in the classroom anymore because I retired as a history teacher.
Right. That's what Coach was telling me.
And I think that's affected us adversely very much in terms of getting kids out. And
you're not in the, like, you're not.
No. And, getting around there. It was funny because when I finished the 2-week stint as a leave replacement, the kid said, wow, you should really come back full time. And I said, look, when I finished teaching, there was nobody in the room because it was COVID. It was that 2021 school year.
Yes.
And nobody was coming to school.
No.
Right? And because they didn't want to get banged, especially athletes, they didn't want to get banged with the positive, right? So, or being around somebody. So, and that's not even a political thing. It's the kids kind of figured it out.
No.
The kids played the system. They knew exactly what to do.
That's right. And they were like, they weren't coming back. And so I kind of finished the empty classroom. So I guess it kind of scratched that itch, seeing kids again.
Yeah.
But they said, you should really come back. I was like, I know, I still got it. But they said, why don't you come back? I said, no. I said, I didn't have to correct any papers. This is great.
Yeah.
I just come in here to teach history, and you guys are kind of curious about things because they were freshmen, some of those seniors when I was leaving,
Right.
and it's a lot. But you get such a pulse on the building,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
I see the push now is to not have a pulse on the building.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not don't ask, don't tell militarily. It's just that there's not the engagement that there needs to be. I'm not blaming anyone, but I'm blaming
No, it's
everyone.
just kind of how the system has rolled.
But somebody, you got to step forward and be a little stronger than that. Same thing with the coaching, Derek. When you talk
Where's
about
the leadership?
well, we follow from the front.
That's what I mean, right?
That's
Like
part of the issue.
like that's it. And here's the other part. What do we talk about all the time, Dave? Like a lot of these guys, they it's got to be now. Everything has to be now. What about your investment down the road, right? Like even talking about assistant coaches, it's hard to get good assistant coaches that are willing to go through that process, learn. Hey, let me take this all in. Everybody thinks because they play Madden, they can call plays. Like, what are we doing?
I mean, I can't call plays, and I've been doing it for a long time.
There ain't no science to
Just
it.
ask the parents.
Yeah, I mean, look.
I thought you were going to ask me questions like, okay, like what game do you remember? When did you screw things up the worst? And I was like, I better start writing some of this down because there's so many possibilities. So I didn't know if you're going to ask me any of those things about.
No, we don't put anybody on the spot.
No,
I'm fine with that though. Like I can handle.
Hey, we know the best coaches are in the stands on Friday night.
I'm a special guest. I mean, like you can ask me those things. I'm playing with house money, so.
I'll tell you what's interesting. You talked about like leading from the front, which is a big deal. And me and Derek talked about this a lot. Listen, the AD I had who hired me at Red Bank was honestly, he was phenomenal. This is a funny story, DJ. So we're sitting there, and it's the summer. Derek, he may have already started helping me coach there. It was very going to be my very first year there. And the guy who hired me, who was phenomenal, he didn't know me, I didn't know him. We just clicked, and like he's just a great guy who, he's like you. He'll give you the shirt off your back. Glad to recommend you to anybody. Like he's that kind of a guy. And his name is Del Dapra. He's a fantastic human. Anyway, so he hired, but so basically they were giving him such a hard time. And he had been there for a long time. Built this Red Bank was, I guess, a bad. I don't know. I wasn't there, but it was a bad program. Took it over, built all the programs up, hired some great coaches. The guy who was the head coach before me did a fantastic job.
It was great. Giglio.
Yeah, he hired me, and I'm sitting there in June, and he's got all the coaches in there, like for the end of the year, getting into next year. And he goes, Dave, I gotta apologize to you because what I'm about to announce is gonna directly affect you. He goes, after this year, I'm retiring. I sat there and I was like, oh my God, what did I do? That's so right. I had taken the head coach job, and this guy, I literally took the job because I just thought this guy is phenomenal. Like I could see myself. So he was there that whole year. It was a great year, right? And Derek will tell you this. Whew. Then he was out, and it happened to be COVID, right? So was the next year, happened to be COVID.
Wildfire.
And then we had I won't say his name, but he's a famous guy as the interim coach. Everybody knows who he is. Famous guy. And he's a good guy, but it was detached, and it was a disaster for us. And then the
interim title never usually goes well.
Well, right. They hired a new guy. This is I haven't been there. I haven't even been there a year. The season is concluded, and I'm on the third AD now. And then eventually they brought me in, and obviously this guy wanted to go a different direction, which was great. And I was like, no problem. Like, see you later.
Good timing.
Yeah, it was great time. It was COVID. COVID was hell coaching at least for me. It was. I don't know how Derek feels about it.
First time we ever coached a game without any practice or work. We had a 15, maybe 20 half hour, I don't know. We had a walkthrough on Saturday and played the game at 10, whatever in the morning.
Yep. Oh, okay. We gave our kids. They wouldn't let us do anything, obviously, because somebody had COVID or whatever, and we gave our captains our practice schedule, and they would go to a park, and they would work on their own, And so the 2 days before we're about to play our game, they said we heard the kids go and practice on their own, in their own, right? Parents, whatever they're doing, and they go, you can't do that anymore. I'm like, well, I'm not doing it.
Right.
They are doing it. So you got to tell them. They're like,